Hey everybody, so I'm back, and I'm at college right now. So yeah, that's why I haven't been doing videos lately. I've just been in college working on homework and whatnot, and I've been hanging out with friends, and I just updated my blog um, my blog yesterday, and I'm looking to update it again soon. So yeah, this will be my third video on the practicality and morality of voting. In this video, I'm going to talk about. Also, I should mention, I don't know how often I will be making videos now, especially due to college and friends and whatnot. But expect at least one video a week at the very least, and at the most 3 a week. So that's what I can give to you probably, and I'm sorry if it doesn't meet your needs and all that kind of stuff. But I can only do as much as I can with college and whatnot. So anyway, this will be my third video on the practicality and morality of voting. I have a new webcam, and it does not have autofocus, so I can move around, and it's got good audio too. So hopefully it goes all right. This will be my first video using it. Oddly enough, it was the same price as my other camera. It's just an iHome camera, and it works a lot better, I guess. And regardless, I just want to get this started. Stop rambling. So this will be a video about general clarifications, because I realize I may confuse people with some of what I'm saying and stuff like that. So I want to clarify like 3 things. So am I opposed to all political action? I just want to get that, because I actually went back and forth with this guy, and I forget his name, but he's one of my subscribers, and and I only have 22 subscribers, so that's pretty sad. I don't know his name. But regardless, we were having a pretty good conversation about political action and whether I opposed all of it, and there were some conflicting statements, or he thought conflicting statements, and we got it sorted out. Regardless, he asked a good question, because I said I'm opposed to voting, which is a political action. And I'll get into what political action is in the next part, and I would like people to help me out with that, define what a political action is and what makes it so different from any other action. But I will work in my own definition, and I'd appreciate any help with it, because I don't think it's complete. I don't think it's a very good one, but it's what I can come up with. So am I opposed to all political action? Not necessarily. I oppose certain types of political action. For instance, I think voting in general within the system activism is, generally speaking, although not always, a worthless attempt, or often burns people out more than it gives back to them. Now what I mean by that is, a good friend of mine named Jack Shimmick, who runs the Alternative Expo, he's talked to me a few times about political activism, and he always says, he sees a lot of people doing this kind of stuff, this within the system stuff, and he's, he lets them do it. He advises them not to, but he lets them do it, make their own mistakes, he says, and or at least I think he says. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's his general point. He lets them do what they want, lets them make their own mistakes, and they just come back like years later. They're tired, they're worn out. Even if they have victories, the victories are so bureaucratic, they take so long, and it's like for a little freedom that can be easily sent back to Congress and disputed on more, or any political commission. So he sees it, and just like I saw it, once he started saying this, that people burn out, that political action really burns you out, or within the system, political action. I am not opposed to all political action, however. On the other hand, I favor outside the system political action, such as direct action, civil disobedience, and so on, that are still traditionally regarded as political actions. They are usually done or can be done outside the system, like MLK and Gandhi and stuff. I mean, they didn't really do. Sure, they have their within the system activism too, but I mean, they're most well known for their civil disobedience, and civil disobedience is breaking the law, and it's, generally speaking, or it's doing something that. Generally speaking, it is just breaking the law, or breaking a law that you find unjust for some philosophical reason. That's what MLK was most known for, and I consider that outside the system activism, because when you break a law, you are effectively existing outside of the social arena that you are supposedly contracted into through the social contract. So those are political actions, and I still support them. Agorism and dual power, are 2 other political types of action. They're also outside the system, but I didn't bring them up because they're kind of odd. They're not really traditionally regarded as favored means of outside the system activism. I mean, outside the system activism really isn't regarded as anything good to begin with, but if it is anything good, it's direct action generally on, if I want to say, quote, the left side of the political spectrum, if we want to get into that, usually likes direct action, specifically worker strikes, sit-downs, protests, that kind of stuff. So yeah, civil disobedience is another good one too. So I support those two actions. Now, I think political action, this is the second part. What do I think political action is? Political action, to me, and this is a very rough definition, I'd appreciate anybody who could help me out with it. I define political action right now as a specific type of action that aims at the good towards a larger community through efforts at shaping the community in a certain way. Now, some of that was taken from Aristotle and his ideas about politics, which I've read, and I wasn't too impressed with it, but I mean, he's good here and there. But regardless, for instance, voting is a political action because it aims at shaping the larger community in a certain way, specifically through organization. So that's what I think political action is, and I think it's a specific type of action. And I mean, that's really all I have to say about that. I really would appreciate some comments or suggestions about how to improve that definition, because I don't think that's complete. It may be even a bad definition, but that's what I came up with, and I hope it does all right. The last thing I have to talk about is Kevin Carson, who had some ideas about anti-political political action, and this is something that me and the person in the group, in the group talked about, not in the group, but in the video chat. BRETEP7 and I were talking about political action, and he did this program for anarchists. It's by Kevin Carson, individualist anarchist. Mutualist.blogspot. He's a writer at c4ss.org. He's a really good writer. I really like him a lot. Left-wing market anarchist, etc. But he's really good. And he had this essay about, in BRETEP7's words, detailing ideas on dismantling the state while allowing those entangled in its machines to disentangle themselves. So it's kind of like, I call it anti-political political action, because you're basically, or anti-governmental political action. And what I mean by that is, like, it's against the current politics, the current organization, the current means of social organization, which is basically politics. Politics is the way of organizing people. And right now we're organized through a government. And so we have political governance, or we have government politics, whatever you want to say. So right now, basically, it's basically anti-politics, but it's still political action. And it could be considered within the system. You would have to take a look at the essay and decide for yourself. I think it's a mix of inside and outside, which I think is fine, but I would prefer the outside. So I hope that clarified my opinion. I don't know when I'll be finishing the series off. I was hoping to finish it off before the weekend, like I said on my Facebook, but I obviously did not end up getting around to that. So I will hopefully finish the fourth one before the end of this week. Hopefully before the end of Friday, but hopefully before Friday is over. But I think that's it. Any questions, comments, like it, subscribe, favorite, whatever. I won't typically say that because I don't really care about being favorited or anything like that. Do it if you want. It'll make me kind of happy, but I mean, not a big deal. So anyway, before I ramble anymore, I think that's about it. So I'll see you guys in the next video whenever I make it. Peace.